This is right, falling to the
camera falls over.
Big puff of screen.
No. How you doing, Brian King, UK Flooring TV? Today we're back over in Rugby at Using HQ. We're doing a series of tool reviews on Wolff tools. We're with our very own Dan Jones and Paddy McNicholas from MN Floor Training. Alright, gents?
Yeah, fine.
Alright, bro.
Okay.
So what we're doing this week?
Well, we've got the Wolff cookie cutter. Basically, you cut a circle. You can cut identical circles, accurate circles with this. It's completely adjustable.
You know, it's one thing I've never used one of those cutters. And I do quite a few repairs, to be honest. But I always seem to cut a square.
Yeah. There's a few versions of this. I've seen one that is just cuts the one circle that size. But this you can, well, what's it there?
You can adjust it to different size circles, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the radius there of the circle, so you get twice as much there. So that'll cut quite a big circle. That will. Now it works on all stuff really that you can cut, doesn't it? Basically, with your LVT, you could score the top. With a carpet, you can cut through the back or the front, depending on whether you can get the carpet up to do your repair. And I assume you could use this for some sort of design work if you wanted to cut multiple circles.
Yeah, you can use that for numerous different cutting techniques with luxury vinyl tiles. Yeah, there's a lot. It's a very versatile cutter.
The ones I've seen are mainly just the one size.
Yeah.
But I can see the benefit with that, especially with the design work. And like I said, I've never used one.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty simple, isn't it? It's got an anchor peg in the middle. That's what you rotate off, and then it's got one of these small blades, the triangle blades. Just got a small hole in, which you keep in the handle. So we'll go in from the top on this carpet. It's always best if you're repairing something with a pile to try and get from the back, because any of the pile you cut through will show. Normally when you're doing a repair, if it's right in the middle, the people don't want to move the stuff, pull the carpet back, you'd have to go from the top. So
it's always better doing one from the back. It's a cleaner cut, but
we'll go from the top with this now. So
a lot harder, you know what I mean. 9 times out of 10, sod's law, it's in the middle of the room, so you can't peel it back.
Yeah, or it's joined onto another room or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So basically, it cuts the one way. So you just get the peg in the middle. You can spin round in a circle with the tool. I think works a bit better. But
is it worth putting a line through it with the back of your knife as well, so you can keep the grain the right way? Grain pile.
Yeah. Well, I think if you go back, you can sometimes, if you start the hole. Oh, it won't do it. No.
No, I mean, so when you've got your cutting, if you put a line in it like that.
Oh, to tell which way it was going, which way the pile was going. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly what Paddy said. Put a line in it, and then if you're putting another piece in, put a line on the other piece. When you swap them over, you've got your pile running the right way.
So in theory, you cut another circle and you can swap them. So like say you've damaged that piece there, cut that out, take a piece from say under a cabinet or in a cupboard.
This is under your side. So you can use this little nodule on the end to push the blade down. So we'll cut another as well. As you can see, it doesn't really take that much time. You get no movement because it's pegged in the middle. So we'll ignore that bit. So basically when you've seen that up, you're not going to see that.
Quite impressive, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially for a face cut.
And then if you was doing it from the back, it runs a bit better, I think, on the back.
Considerably easier.
Yeah. So then if you're doing it, as Paddy said before, I'd get your pencil, put an arrow on that, you swap them round. So you might want to fix.
See, if you can turn it upside down and using a heat sealer, then now's the perfect time to seam the back, seam it in with the backing.
Push all these little bits of rope tufts in with your knife, seen it from the back, turn it over, and you should have, you probably fall out, but you should have something pretty respectable. Yeah, you're not going to see that, are you? And to start with, the thing you was working on was damaged, so you're only getting better. But the idea is total invisibility.
What are the advantages of cutting a circle for repair as opposed to a square?
I find that the circle, that'll cut you two identical straight away.
Yeah.
A square, you're going to have to cut the square out, and then you're going to have to mark exactly that square, which you can easily do because you can just draw around it and cut round it on paper. But you have to make an identical piece with this. It cuts two identical pieces. And another thing I find with the repair, obviously if it's a loop pile you have to go straight with the rows. There's no corners, so if you've got a carpet that falls to bits on the edge, you haven't got 4 little corners like this that can drop out. A circle is just one continuous bead.
So it's considerably easier to repair a carpet with?
I'd say it's easier, and I'd say it's a more robust, because you, in the future, as you can see, little corners.
You haven't got that weak point.
You haven't got the weak point of the little corner, no.
Also, I'd say you're getting a better join because you're not cutting across the pile.
Yeah.
You're cutting like a circle.
Yeah, you're cutting a circle.
You know, the sides are going to be bang on, but I've done repairs where
The back, the leaning edge.
Yeah.
So one repair, this tool would pay for itself, wouldn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
So it's a no-brainer, really.
And at the minute, cool glides are in, so if you get one of them and a cool glide,
Yeah.
you're laughing.
You can put them all over.
Yeah.
And you just put your cool guide tape on, you're on top, you're done, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, years ago, you like we was discussing this before, your iron would be smoking, you'd be trying to get it in, sometimes you can't get it in on something like that. You have to try and get the tape warm and poke it under quick, and there's all sorts of things that when you see me from the top with a cool glide you don't experience. But
also it's a very versatile tool, like you were saying earlier, you can use it on carpet, on your vinyl and on your luxury vinyl tiles.
For design work, if you want to put a lot of bubbles and keep moving up an inch, you could cut a lot of circles. But we'll pass that on to Paddy now.
Yeah, let's have a do with vinyl, see how it works with that.
Okay, so now we've got a issue in the vinyl there where someone stubbed it or created a bit of a fault in the floor. So what you want to do is bring the blade out so it sits at the same depth as the pin. That way when you bring it round you're nice and level. What you don't want is your blade sticking out a tiny bit and your big pin at the bottom, otherwise you're holding it at an angle which again is going to generate inaccuracy.
Does the pin not damage the vinyl, or is it fine enough so you can't tell?
So we're doing a repair here, so this bit in the middle it doesn't matter. However, it is piercing the vinyl, so what you might be inclined to do is stick a little piece of luxury vinyl tile on the good bit. So what we'll do is we'll repair this bit, we'll cut the circle out of the bad bit, and then we'll put a bit of LVT down and we'll come round marking into the LVT but not the vinyl. That way the piece we're cutting out can go back in there and it hasn't got a pinhole in it. Okay, when you're doing this you want to angle it a little bit like that so that the blade is coming at a bit of an angle as opposed to sitting more upright. You'll find it will cut a lot easier.
It's better to move around with it, isn't it? You get more
control. If you move around with it you're coming at a consistent angle and you're going to have a lot more control over it.
Basically what you're saying, if that was LVT, you put the sacrificial bit in the middle.
We can put that bit, control that with a bit of vinyl. So now as you can see we've cut a nice clean circle out of it. What I want to do is get another piece of vinyl, sort of line it up so you can see that it's going to match pretty well. Okay. Then you'd want to measure it to get the inside of that dark line on there and then inside of this light line on there, so when you drop your piece in it's going to match up quite nicely. It's going to sit roughly. Now what we don't want to do is we don't want to mark this piece of vinyl and put a pinhole in the piece that we're going to use for the repair. So we're going to get a bit of luxury vinyl tile, put that on there and put a lot of pressure on it so it's not going to move. Now we line this up, so again that little bit of dark you've got there and the bit of light here, the piece we cut into it to get it to match nicely. When you're using small pieces like this, you want to be careful because obviously because it's smaller it's going to want to move more. You notice here I've got the pressure on my thumb on that bit because I don't want this piece to move underneath, otherwise I'm not going to get an accurate circle. Just take your time with it. You want accuracy, not power, so you're just gentle coming round. You should meet up nicely in the circle. Now I can pull my LVT off, and there's absolutely no mark on that, so I haven't gone through the I haven't gone through the luxury vinyl tile, so my cut piece is a lot more nerve-wracking. There we go. See, that sits in there. It's a slight little bit too big, but that's fine because once you get the adhesive on that, it's going to grab. It's going to hold it in.
That was small as well, wasn't it? Like you said.
Yeah, it's going to hold it in nice.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that as a repair.
Yeah, like I say, it's popping up a little bit at the minute, but you'll find that once you put the adhesive on it, that'll hold it down nice. And if anything, it's going to generate even less of a gap, and it's going to be a lot tighter.
Looks pretty good for me, yeah.
Will be with a bit of adhesive under.
Would you use that? Would you use one of those on LVT?
Yeah, so these are brilliant for luxury vinyl tiles for again cutting circles into your luxury vinyl tile. Obviously you wouldn't repair a luxury vinyl tile like this, you just pull a piece up and put a new one down. However, you can use these for cutting all sorts of curves, circles. There's lots of things that you can use this tool for. Again, you want to be weighing the product down with your body weight so that it doesn't move. Hold that pin down, it's important that stays in position. It's quite reassuring when you get back onto the other line because you can feel it click on. Go around again. What you don't want to be doing with this is cutting through the luxury vinyl tile, because if you do, you're going to create a lip on the product.
Is that why the scoring method is always done when you cut? You never cut straight through?
Yeah, and again, open up the cut just by bending it. Then you can put your knife in. And then, again, like I said earlier, you want to cut at an angle so that you're cutting a burr off as you're cutting it. Like that.
Actually, that'll fit in there.
Nice circle out, chuck it in there. What we're going to do is cut this luxury vinyl tile out. Again, weight down. Make sure that's tight, because if it's not, it's going to push up and not cut. Hook blade for LVT. Yeah. So this time we want to cut the burr off internally so that it'll go in nice. We've got all this is waste, so I'm not too worried about that. Again, open the cut up.
Have you used one of these before, have you?
Yeah, I've got one. I've got a few at the training centre.
I've got one the same as that.
So this is going to go into there, so we're going to cut the burr off this way this time. if you're using product that's not acclimatised and you've just got this off the van, you're going to struggle. It needs to be acclimatised to 18 to 26, 27 degrees. Obviously cutting LVT that is not warm enough, you're never ever going to get the accuracy that you want.
And you'd be a fool to try and do design work with unacclimatised stuff, wouldn't you? Because you've got
Well, you'd
that
be a
many
fool to
little...
try anything with an acclimatised product. If your product's freezing cold on the van and you fit it and it's fine, and then a couple of weeks later when it's warm, or God forbid they put underfloor heating on, all your product is going to lip up and expand. Just want to take the burr off the back of that, any more that's there. What you want to be doing when you do this is put the pressure on you, hand holding the product, not pulling towards yourself, because if you come off you're going to cut yourself. If you go off that way, then you're fine. The trick is to just keep your cutting arm straight, firm, and any pressure is on this arm. Just by cutting this little bit off the back, it's going to accurately go in. If you've got a burr on it, then the product you've cut is bigger than what you want, so that burr's got to come off.
For people who don't know much about LVT, you see people fitting it and they always shave that bit off. Why is that, Paddy?
Like I say, the knife mark you make on the wear layer on the top is the exact measurement you want. If you've got a burr on the back and your product sticks out like that, then this is bigger than what you want. So it's important to cut the burr off the back, whether you're scribing into a border or even into a wall. Really, if you cut a piece to the wall and it's got a burr on, it's going to push the product off the wall and create a black line, which you don't want. So it's important to take the burr off.
Give it a nice snug fit.
Yeah, or push the skirting away and make it look like you've got the whole wall short.
Yeah. And then it just goes in nice.
Yeah. So it can be used for design work in LVT?
Yeah, you can use them for numerous different things in flooring. Very good tool.
Would you recommend one of these, Dan?
Yeah, it's good to have, isn't it? Yeah, I sometimes the things I've had for years, you never think of them, do you? But because you own it. But yeah, it's a good thing to have to anyone who's got anything to do with flooring.
Like I said, I've never had one. Never had one, so I think it's something I will be purchasing.
Yeah, so. You've had a go with that, haven't you?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Also, as well, when you put in like I said, when I do a repair work, put a square in, you're cutting across, but you're not with that. You're cutting a circle, so you're not cutting across any part.
No. It does seem to work good. Even from the face, it worked quite good on there as well. Yeah.
Just important, like we say, to cut on a bigger piece. If you've got a little piece, you've got like that, and you're trying to nail on that, it's going to move and you're going to generate inaccuracy. So the bigger it is. If you've got a plank, what you can do is backfill it with other planks so it doesn't move.
Yeah.
Put a bit of double-sided tape down. Therefore, when you come round, nothing's going to move, and you can literally quite freely spin around with it and get a nice accurate circle.
Brilliant. Well, thanks again, gents. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Until
Thank you,
next
Brian.
week. Cheers.
Thank you, Wolff, for having us in.
Yeah.
Thanks
a lot.